All right, y'all. Hey, y'all. Hey, Sugar here. Yes, it's the Natalie Sugar Brown show. Okay. And normally, yes, 7:30. We are here on Wednesday night, but y'all know Sugar been kind of late to the place, but my face will always be in the place, right? Um, and so it's about 7:50-ish, but Sugar's here. This is the Natalie Sugar Brown Show, y'all, and this is a platform where we talk about women's boxing. Yes, women's boxing, and um this is not a talk about like, oh, this is an analyst, and I all the numbers and these things at no. We're talking about real women's boxing. We're talking about what's happening behind what they tell you is what's happening out here, right? This is where Sugar comes. This is Sugar's platform to share stories about my experiences as a woman pugilist, and growing into a woman behaving badly and being one of the baddest in the world doing that, right? So thank you guys for watching the show. Like, subscribe, and share. I'm gonna say that out the gate because for those who are new, uh, y'all don't know, but Sugar tends to kind of uh, in the conversation, I'll go far right so I can go far left, and then I'll meet you back in the middle again here. Right? So let the conversation begin, because it's really a conversation. And I welcome you guys out here to chime on in. I welcome you guys to ask me questions after the show, right? Leave it down here in the comments. Um, Sugar says things that, that a lot of people may not want to say, right? But if anything, I'm always be plain and simple, and my loyalty is to the truth, right? So tonight's show, the bantamweight battlefield. Okay, I've been talking last show. I was talking about the bantamweight weight division for women's boxing is bubbling, but the thing is, and there's enough contenders in there to sell it. But the question is there enough beef for people to want to buy it, right? So if there's, it's there. We know the middleweight division sells. We know the um, super featherweight division sells, a bit. We know the junior welterweight division sells. The welterweight division sells, right? Now we're trying to sell the bantamweight because we haven't had any real big stuff going on in the bantamweight division since, I would say, late 90s, 2000s in women's boxing. And yes, we've been around that long and longer than that, right? But the names, right? The names, some of us don't hit women uh, celebrity status in women's boxing. Some of us are just women who, we've been around, we fought, and some are now, celebrities, especially great celebrities, who are getting uh, airtime and getting seen on the TV, on the bigger television platforms nowadays, since women's boxing has picked up. So we're talking about the battlefield because I ain't gonna go over it again, right? Because I did it on my last show. You guys check it out, my bantamweight baddies show. Okay, where I outlined what the who the contenders are, or who the names are right now, and you know, kind of run down the 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 personas, or the women, the badness. of the ladies in that division. There are more baddies. I'm not saying that those are the ones and it ends there. What I'm saying is those are the ones that, keep have been keeping the pot bubbling, and we just want the pot to get a little hotter so we can see what kind of fights them little women's uh, be having in the ring, right? Because Sugar always says it, but you'll hear it a lot in the boxing land, or in the boxing verse, right? Styles make fights, okay? And especially in women's boxing, you'll notice that you'll notice that different different types of women or different sizes of women may have, or there's a different type of style of fight in each division that is just prominent, right? Which is what makes the pound for pound talk to me more interesting in women's boxing, because depending on what weight you are and what kind of style you have is what will determine whether in pound for pound, meaning if you were a big gal, a big broad, or right down to a little broad, will you be the best? Would you beat the best that we have out here in all the weight divisions? Which I'm looking at the pound list, who and what they got. I think they're capping. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't outpoint you can't, if you don't have no power, you can't hold off the big broads, right? And when you get smaller and smaller, if you're not fast and if you're not running your hands, you can't you're not going you're not going to score. You're not going to catch up with them little broads because they're fast, right? And then, very few of us have that thunderclap, that knockout power as much as, you see these padded records out here. A lot of those numbers are numbers from, forced stoppages, shenanigan stoppages, stoppages of opponents who were, you know, outclassed. Uh, a lot of these women are not stopping other women who are of the same value of opposition they are. Um, you're not gonna stop a true contender. You're not just gonna stop a true contender unless you got some, unless there's some shenanigans and stuff going on where, we've had to deal with stuff before we even get into the ring. We have to fight before we get into the ring at times, right? So, um, you know, that part, right? So, um, tonight's conversation, right? I'm gonna start it off. Lovely assistant, and yeah, thank you. Can you make me big next to this? Yeah. I like my face to be in the place, right? So, who you looking at? I did my notes on my phone, y'all, and I ain't even gonna risk getting it wrong, okay? Um, you're looking at Shernika, Sugar Neeks. That's what they trying to call her. They trying to she trying to be a sugar in here, but it takes a lot. It takes a lot for you to for you to pull or hold that name, and she's learning that, right? So you're seeing you're seeing Ellie Scottney from the UK, closer to me here in the blue pants, UK fighter, versus way now to the left. You got Shernika Johnson. Okay. And so these two here were fighting for a title. Shanika Johnson actually is the was the title holder of the IBF Super Bantamweight title, and this match off was her defense of that title. Okay, now this ain't Shanika's first piece of hardware. Okay, this is her second. This is the second title that she's had that she would defend. Okay, and y'all do the homework on that because we having a conversation about this one right here, right? So Sharnika Johnson though, super. This is a super bantamweight title. She's held titles before. She lost the title, and now she managed to get another title again, becoming the IBF Super Bantamweight title holder. And now she's defending against Ellie Scottney out of UK. Now the thing about this is, y'all know I like to talk about the fight from the beginning, from this part, from weigh-ins, even from if the press conference is saucy, y'all know Sugar love that stuff, right? I eat that up because I love beef, right? Beef, beef, beef just makes the fight better. Nobody wants to say, nobody's in. Oh, good sport, especially in women's boxing, right? We want to have some kind of, and it doesn't have to be beef per se. I don't like you and you don't like me. The beef is you think you're gonna beat me? Who is you? Back and forth. We don't have to dislike each other, but you know, we do have to kind of feel disrespected if a broad think she can beat me. And that was just my thing, as a fighter, where I respect all women boxers, right? It takes a lot. It takes a lot to get in there and do this. It takes a lot to keep doing this. It takes a lot to deal with the industry of women's boxing. I don't like some of y'all. I'm gonna be honest. Probably a lot of y'all don't like me, and that's just fine. That's really just fine. Um, but there is an understanding among all of us of what the standard is, and that's what I aim to maintain when I talk about when I have conversations about women's boxing and the contenders and how these things happen and what the talk is, what they're trying to sell, what folks are trying to sell and what's worth the money and what's not worth the money, right? Um, so I'm gonna start off with this. Okay, I just thought it was really interesting what Sharnika Johnson there to the far left, which she tried. Homegirl, if y'all look at it real close, you'll notice that first of all, Shanika Johnson ain't bad on the eyes, okay? But in this particular case, she has her top painted on. Yeah, that's not a real sports bra. You see the details of the titties, right? It's just like no sports bra cups the girls like that. So you should kind of know that off the gate that something's a little bit kind of slight there, right? So thought it was. I mean, it is risque showing up to your weigh-in with a painted on sport bra on. Um, and I would say, this is your title defense, right? So it's like, um, to me, Sharnika people them. I just thought this was her opportunity more so to present herself more so as a fighter than, I'm gonna call it, than this thirst trapping, right? And I'm not going to like, I may have, I may have thirst trapped myself, but there's a time and place. I'm just saying there is a time and a place, right? So, um, you're showing up, you're in the UK, you're not in your backyard, okay? So, the fight happened, yo. I'm just glancing down because I'm taking my yeah, I'm doing my notes now on my electronic device. Um, okay, so these two fought at the Wembley Arena. Okay, this is in the UK. And these arenas now, we're fighting in big arenas. That's a big deal for women's boxing. It really is, because you know I we started off in barnyards, in backyards. Then we was in the backyard at the Playboy Mansion. That was supposed to be a big deal. And then on and on and on, and till we start getting put on better platforms. Don King started put Christy Martin on that large platform, undercard of Mike Tyson. I mean, that to me, that was the groundbreaker for putting a big spotlight on women's boxing. And this was back in the early mid '90s. So yeah. And then now here we are, like arenas, Little Caesars, Wembley, like, you know what I'm saying? This is growth for the industry. I hope the growth means payment, right? And I mean, I'm not getting it, but these broads better be getting to pay for this. Because us broads before, we were just, we fought um, because we were fighting to fight. We fought because we were fighting for something, fighting to be taken seriously. And now these broads are being taken seriously. They better be having some serious money, right? We didn't. Your boxing ancestors in women's boxing. We didn't come and go for nothing. Better be some money in here now. Anyway, Australian Shanika Johnson fought Ellie Scontney, who is from the UK, in the UK at the Wembley Arena. She shows up at the weigh-in with a painted-on tank top. Now, and this is Shanika Johnson, the champion, right? Because this was for the IBF Super Bantamweight title. Uh, I said time and place earlier because you really don't pull shit like this unless you're in your backyard, right? When we're about to get real, not we're about to behave really rude, behave badly, go on bad, right? So, if I'm gonna show up behaving like bad, about to behave badly like that, I'm with my titties painted over, I'm gonna do it in my backyard, right? Because that's where I have the leverage, that's where I can do what I want, right? I'm gonna have enough, still a bit more respect for what I'm doing than to show up at somebody's house naked. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure if I have the crowd. I'm not sure if I have the judges. I'm not sure about anything, right? So I will be modest in doing stuff like this. And I would suggest, moving forward, you know, us in women's boxing, we think about it that way. It's not a me thing anymore. It's really not, right? You represent you as a fighter, but you're representing the industry as well. And I'm not saying that she should not have painted over her titties. I think that's a grand idea. But I would say this, I am saying that the place and the time for painted over titties ain't at that time, ain't right now. Um, in somebody else's backyard. So I saw a bit of the fight. And Sharnika has, just a kind of a simple, straightforward type of uh, fighting. She's not a boxer. She's not a real she's not fighter, meaning she, and look at Sugar's last show, like these shows I explain at Styles Make Fights. The fight style is a fight that I've explained in my Styles Make Fights video. Y'all check that out, right? But fighters do unconventional things in the ring. It's a real fight. They're less technical, these type of things. So Shanika Johnson's not a fighter. um then we have a banger, we have the juggernaut, um boxer, fighter, banger, juggernaut. She's more so of a, I would say, a hybrid between a banger and a juggernaut. That's what I see. Why I see it that way for Shanika is, Shanika ain't afraid to she wants that. She ain't afraid for her face to look like roast beef at the end of the fight, meaning she'll bleed. When she get in there, she starts leaking right away. Um, and I get, there's fighters where that sometimes that's their, I mean, not sometimes, but that's just their thing. They gotta bleed in there in order for it to be a fight for them. Um, did she leak this fight? I think she did, which didn't really help her either, right? Because when you fight, you want to seem like you're the one that's not tired, not hurt, more intact than the other fighter. Um, there are some places that, they cheer, yay, when you're bleeding and you're fighting. But judgment wise, with these judges and stuff, that's not a good look, right? Because if you are bleeding, that means your opposition has been successful in breaking down what should have been your guard, whether it be head movement, your actual guard using your hands, i.e., your awareness. Your opposition did a good enough job to catch you enough to damage you, right? So that's just not going to look good. And so everything the other person does looks more dangerous because they've drawn blood off of you, right? So I've said it previously too. It's a thing in women's boxing. It's like, you know, I got your blood on my outfit, bitch. This is your blood on my outfit. Like that's how it's it's a thing, with in women's boxing, and I don't know, us women behaving badly or women who behave badly. You ask any of them that, any broad that she'll fight. Bitch, is this your hair in my hand? You know what I'm saying? Like that's just the thing for us. Like we want to have momentums of, and reminders of the fact that we are whooping your ass, right? And so that's just it, for more women who behave badly, women who fight, right? Um, so Sharnika Johnson, she's, like I said, she's known to be a fighter who leaks in there. Um, Ellie Scottney, she's a newer kid on the block, and let's see, I'm just going through my notes here, y'all, because I did check out Scottney. Uh, Ellie Scottney. Okay, so lovely assistant. Is there any other let's go on to the next image. There she is. Okay. Um Just going to give you the math on homegirl. She's a smaller broad, okay? She's 25 years old, so she's a young broad in the game, 7-0. Y'all know I don't talk about sub 10 fighters. They don't exist. Why? Because women's boxing is too tough for you to come out with under 10 fights thinking that you're going to stick around, right? After you get up, when you get up to 10 fights and you're hanging in, you're still going, that's when you're on the map. That's when I see you as as another fighter, because I know that you're doing this on purpose. Right? You're getting up, you're doing it whether you are an opponent, a career opponent, or you somebody who is really trying to be a real contender in the game. You get up to those numbers. Okay, I see you. I see you, girl. All right, let's boogie. So 7-0, and still like 6-0 going to the fight, right? And she fought abroad in Shernika Johnson. Shernika Johnson was 15-1 coming into this fight. So Ellie like had some really big like her she was letting it all hang out, right? Meaning you only have 6 fights, and uh I have 15 fights, and you think you can beat me? That's what, that's really stepping up to another broad chest, especially that you think you can take my title, right? I mean, Shernika Johnson, and I told y'all belts and bodies, check out that episode, right? I told y'all the politics and the ins and outs of what these sanctioning bodies do, right? So Shernika Johnson's been around for a bit. You see, she's nice on the eyes, right? So and she was pulling some attention. So of course the sanctioning bodies are going to lean towards this fighter because she gives potential to fight, to gain a bit of presence and to have more fights, right? The more she fights, the more money she'll make for the sanctioning body, okay? Because she has to pay to hold that belt. She has to pay um, every time it's defended. Yeah, she got paid, and she must have had people behind her because she was holding on to those belts, and she was getting these fights to keep, Shanika Johnson, because she previously she had a title as well. Now she has another one, so she was able to get that money together to get these titles, right? Because I'm going to tell you this, right? It's not, oh, the best two shall fight and we will give them the belt. It's, okay, um, this is the cost of this sanctioning fight. Who's going to pay for it? Oh, you? Okay, champ. We'll let you have this belt. Yeah. And you keep fighting when champ until somebody else is willing to pay what you're paying or a little bit more. And if they just want to pay a little bit more, then I'm sorry, we're going to have to give them the belt, right? That's how these sanctioning bodies work. So with 6 fights, Ellie Scottney out of the UK, because these UK broads now, they coming. UK, they putting their money on the table. For especially for women's boxing, they're paying the bill. Scottney comes up, 6 fights, steps to Shernika Johnson, who is 15 fights 16 fights in the game, and says, you know what? I got them. Her people them said, you know what? We got this broad. She gonna beat you for this title, and then we're gonna make some money over here in the UK with this belt, right? So that's how Scottney got this fight clearly, right? You don't there's so many contenders in the super bantamweight weight division, right? There's so many people, so many other good fighters. A fighter that is 7-0, I mean 6-0, gets to hop over everyone's head. Why? How? Who? Right? Y'all have to read the game like this. And this is how it is for all the weight classes. This is how it is. This is how it's been. Very few fighters are fighters who have actually been real and had held on to their title, gotten their title and held on to it. I would say one of the realest ones right now, Shields, Clarissa Shields. She has not backed down from any of the opposition that's out there for her, and she has fought the best they've put in front of her. She has fought the cream of the crop, right? Why she's not pound for pound the best, considered pound for pound the best, je ne sais quoi. I don't know. I don't know why. Um, but I just explained it to you. You know, I've explained the logistics of it, right? So, Scottney now defeats uh, Sugar Neeks, okay? Shernika Johnson. A 6-0 fighter defeats a 15-1 fighter who was supposed to be a great title holder and a great contender. So what is that? What is that really like? What does it? Is that showing you with what the belt body just did in this situation? Because when you have a belt, and this is just what I've experienced. This is what I know. You have to convincingly beat, like I'm talking about beat the champion. You got to beat the champ. In this matchup here, I don't think I don't think Ellie Scottney, you know, plainly beat Shernika Johnson to take her belt away, to take this title away. I saw it. Nobody was dropped. Like I went all the way to Japan and fought, right? And was beating Fujin's ass. And they gave Fujin the fight. Japan in Korakuen Hall, her own people was booing in there. But they gave Fujin the fight. This was my experience. So how is it now? And we weren't even fighting for a title. This was just, a fight. This was a history's first match. It was the first female boxing match in first female boxing match in Japan. Yeah. So I mean, I didn't even know. At Korakuen Hall, which is a legendary historical thing. So they wasn't going to let that girl get beat though, right? Even though I beat the brakes off her, like I was beating her ass. Anyway, Shernika the champ is fighting away from her home, from her home, which lets me know that Scott and these people had the most leverage. They were saying we're going to pay more money for this belt, so we're taking it from Shernika. So so the sanctioning body to me was in on it. This had to happen. Watching the fight, like I said, Shernika she comes across as, a hybrid banger juggernaut. There wasn't any real there wasn't any real how can I say it? Any real carnage to me, like in this fight. Yes, both, like there was blood. We know Shanika leaks. You know, Scottney looked like she had some, bruising or busting too. But it wasn't a war enough for Scottney to, like I said, get that belt off of Shanika Johnson. She didn't beat up that champion like say Chantel Cameron did when when she beat up McCaskill for the 140-pound title, or when she beat up Katie Taylor, because she did, right? Um, it didn't look like that. It just looked like two comparable level fighters fighting, and to me, at the end, pick a winner. And if you're gonna pick a winner, the winner, both, one is the champ and the other isn't, you just gonna have to say the champ still wins. That's what I got, from these two fighting. Lovely assistant, can you change it to the next image, please? But now Scottney is the IBF champion, y'all. I'm gonna snack on here because it's been a long day for Suge. My host says Miyamoto was going to take Neek's belt anyway, right? And this is what I said. So my host is in on it. We talk fight all the time here on Talkin' Fight. And I believe you. Miyamoto Motu out of New Zealand had just as good a chance as anybody else in getting that belt off of Neeks. But as I just explained it, money talk, right? So the only person who was going to get, oh shoot, we're gonna talk about her in a little bit. You can make me big if that's possible. The only person who was going to take that belt off of Shanika Johnson Sugar is the one who would pay the bigger tab, right? Miyamoto, she young in the game. I don't think reason why she didn't get this shot is because her people she didn't have enough money to fight and take the belt off of Shanika Johnson. That's a badass too. Like I said, this bantamweight battlefield is really interesting, right? And Miyamoto is one of those who would keep the pot bubbling, and she would be a good fight with any of those fighters that I mentioned in the last episode, my bantamweight episode, which was the last one. Michael Orr, hey Mike. Michael Orr chimes in and says, I'm not impressed with Neeks at all. Mike, why are you not impressed with Neeks? I can guess, but you tell me. We having a conversation, right? It's just a conversation. I could tell you why I'm not impressed with Neeks. I'll start off, because I'm not either. I think she has a lot of potential. I think Shanika Johnson has a lot of potential. But I also think that she needs to take it down a notch, right? You come out, your name's Sugar. Yeah, like I said, check all the sugars in the history. You gotta be a bad motherfucker for them to call you Sugar, right? They don't call me Natalie Sugar Brown for nothing, okay? Now, They trying to sell this Shernika Sugar Johnson. Why? Why are you sugar? I don't see nothing sweet that she do in the ring. I don't. She don't have the moves. Sugar, she don't have Shernika don't have the punching power. Shernika Johnson don't really do anything in the ring. Sure, she has cute outfits. Very easy on the eye, nice looking. Showed up. I'm a mom. So the girls may not be as perky as Neeks is, and I admire that. She painted over them titties and she said, "This what I got. This what I'm selling y'all. Look at me." And then when we look at you, you ain't doing nothing. I think the most exciting part of the whole thing matchup between the two was the fact that she painted her titties over. Because the fight, to me, the fight wasn't anything remarkable, right? So when you do all of these things, you better be working. I don't get, like, she bleeding in there, bitch. Like, that don't impress me. I'm a woman, right? I'm a female fighter too. You bleeding in there, girl, you down bad. You looking bad. You in there bleeding, girl, you looking bad in here. It's not like the men. It's not. It's not. A woman bleeder? Don't do that. And if you bleeding, you better be whooping some ass, right? Because it's like, I mean, Chrissy Martin used to bleed too, but while she in there looking like roast beef, she had them girls doing the Harlem Shake. Chrissy Martin could fight. Mike comes in. Michael Orr said, "I don't think she deserves to win the title." Michael Orr says, "I believe she's where she's at because of the lack of competition." Don't say that, Mike, because that means you ain't been looking at the shows. Michael Orr says, "The only notable fighter on her receipts is Susie Ramadan." Let's be real. She's been around him. She's been around a long time, yeah. Michael Orr says she always takes damage. Michael Orr says she's a different kind of leader, though. She survived getting shot 6 times. Can you put her in the same category? Who are you talking about, Shernika? Shernika getting shot like a rapper out here? Who got shot 6 times? Christy Martin. Now, listen. Y'all know that story. Do y'all know the story about that? Christy Martin, her husband, shot her. Mike said 6 times. I thought it was less. He was trying to end the game. Yeah, man. Can you imagine? That was her husband. Can you imagine what kind of relationship they had if this man did that to her because she just decided that she wanted to leave? She wanted to move on with her life. He shot her 6 times. What kind of marriage, what kind of relationship do you think that was, right? So, like, a lot of these things, that's the interesting part of women's boxing. That's the interesting part, right? We most of the time we do have relationships with our trainers, with our coaches. Yeah, it happens. Some of it is, some of it is, true blue, like one of our Brooke D. She has a show here on Talkin Fight. Her and her hubby, they're like the picture perfect couple. He was he trained her or helped train her. He was there the whole time, and they have a wonderful family. right? And then, myself, I was married to my ex-husband was my trainer. He was a notable fighter as a professional. He trained a world champion as well, um, in the male boxing, and he was an Olympic medalist himself. Right, so that was my ex-husband. So this guy wasn't no, dirty hamper, training, here today, gone tomorrow trainer. I was married to one of the best that who's ever done it in the world. And my marriage had its ups and downs, and ended up, I left it. Right. So these relationships, of us women in fighting, us boxers, us having families, being mothers, all that stuff has something to do in here too with the fighting aspect of it. But yeah, Mike brought that up. She got shot 6 times. Um, that's the type of I mean, and lived. So Christy Martin, shot out here like a rapper. She can make a song. Like, she could really rap a legit. She can, you know what I'm saying? She could be up there with them guys rapping about the life. um Michael Orr said she wanted to leave and play for the other team. She came out as a lesbian. Yes. So, I mean, that may hurt a man's feelings too, right? But listen, right? If she wanted to play for the other team, she let him play. She let him ride the ride long enough, right? She gave him his time, and she was like, okay, now let's see. Yeah, I think I feel good with the other team, and that's okay, right? So, I mean, a blow to his ego, yes. Now, I mean, she had her reasons for leaving the marriage. I had my reasons for leaving mine. Um, but I've always been a team player. I love to play. Um, so I mean, that is just something us women, we like to do. We like to play. Um, for one team or the next. But you know what I'm saying? That depends on how much of our story we want to share with y'all. Um, Michael Orr says he was also like 20 years older than her. Yes. Yes. Listen, old, young, y'all can get it. Right? We, play on, player. Right? I listen, I just want a good teammate to be playing with. That's all. Don't be no boring teammate. Don't let me down. Eh? 20 years older or 20 years younger. I just want a good teammate. um Michael Orr says, stop it. Then he says, team player. Then he says, I will let you down. I'll lift you up. Listen. This is the internet, Mike. Right? This ain't no only stuff. Like, this ain't the Discord. Listen, they gonna put me off because of how y'all let me act on here. Oh, Michael Orr says, I won't let you down. I'll lift you up. Yes. Because and this is gonna be it. I'm gonna have to say this and go, listen, I'm good on top. I don't mind being on top. Stop. Stop it. Mike, stop it. Michael Orr comes in and says, good thing I didn't say what I was gonna say. Mike, this the internet. Now I'm gonna go back to I'm gonna go back to tonight's show because it's getting I don't want it to get too late, right? So yeah, so I mean with Shernika, I think she has potential. She's willing to fight. She's willing to get bloody. How about you focus on fighting? Focus on learning how to fight and be a performer, right? Because um Shernika Johnson, I think that's what it is that she lacks. You can't just be a woman boxer out here. Like, okay, you're a woman fighter. You have to, a part of it, a big part of women's boxing is the fact that we are performers. The most of it is more, and it's more entertaining watching women fight than actually watching the art of it. And I'm saying that because I am one of the best that has ever done it. Right? I'm on the world level. Like I'm in the books for doing it, right? After a while, a jab is a jab. A hook is a hook. A uppercut is a cross is a cross, right? How do you deliver it though? Do you do it in a way that people want to see you do it over and over again, right? Or, how do you take a shot? Do you take it like a pro, right? That's where I'm coming from. So you hit, you ended Shernika. She has everything else that a professional should have. Great outfit, great look, great marketing. Just sells her body well, except for, girl, you got sell a fight. Sell your style. Sell how you could fight in there. I can go. I told you I watched some of the fight. And the reason, good luck to Ellie Scottney, because I didn't really see where she was very entertaining either. Because if she, you 7-6 and oh, and you step into somebody with 16 fights, you need to be like going off. I need to see you, really hurt and stagger or behave badly in there, because you're telling me that you're better than this broad who's been in there 16 times, right? With some of the baddest, and some who may have more fights than you and might be better, right? So that's where that's where I'm from. Michael Orr says, I don't believe she's at that world stage level yet. Michael Orr also says, I deliver that like they ordered the full combo. um Mike, she's not. She's not. Okay. And that's what the standard is. I said it earlier in the show, where we may not like each other in this boxing game, in this industry, but there is an understanding and a standard that we all have and know. Okay. And if a broad ain't cutting it, some of us don't have the the chest to say it out loud. I do, because I'm not trying to be anybody's friends, because there's no friends in women's boxing, really. It's very rare that you have a friend like that. But the friends that you do have in women's boxing that you may not know are the ones who tell you straight up the truth, whether it's that they dissing you, they're telling the truth to you about how they feel about you, or whether they're telling you the good that you do, right? But the ones that, a lot of them are just here for the, I'm not going to sit on here and rant. right? But like I said, I'm not putting down Sharnika. It's not a put down, hun. I like what you're trying to do. You're trying to be somebody in women's boxing, like we all have. But what I want you to do is, Sharnika, or what I want Sharnika to do is understand that better have tried what she's trying to do. And she's just got to meet the standard. You're not special. Fight in there. Make it so that people want to see you fight, win or lose. And that's how you win in the end. Now, who we're looking at right now is, goodness, y'all, I done lost my page on my notes here. But bear with me, okay? I've gotten so comfortable. If you've looked at my earlier shows, I was really, formal, and I've gotten so comfortable. I'm here eating my snacks on here with y'all because this is a conversation. Y'all family now. Y'all family now. Who you're looking at right now is a very popular gal in this lower weight division. Her name is Adina Kiss. Okay? Blonde. She's from Budapest. Budapest is over there in Hungary. So, Hungarian baddie. Okay? Now, the thing about Adina is, reason why I say she's a popular gal, let me just double check, get my notes on her, is because she has fought, she's a very popular opponent with a lot of fighters that we know. Goodness. Adina Kiss, yes, my notes. Okay. Check her record. She has 16 wins and 17 losses. Yep, Michael Orr comes in. Oh, shoot, my workout been paying me. 16 wins and 17 losses, okay? So all in together now, this broad has had, 33 fights? Did I do my math right? Okay. Now, out of her 16 wins, she's had 9 KOs. So this broad is dangerous. If you can stop at least 9 people, then you could stop number 10. Because there's always a fighter's chance. That's what I want y'all to understand. Anybody can get clipped. Anybody. Okay? She has been stopped 4 times out of the 17. Okay? Lovely assistant, can you go to the next image, please. Please. All right. Now, I told you why, right? This is what BoxRec do to us. Look at this picture. This looked like what they call it, the mug shot. She looked like she's on some what's that movie that Jack Nicholson went through the put his face through the door. And what did he say? He looked like, that's 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 kind of how she looks in this picture. Come on. Red rum. Come on. The name is at the tip of my tongue. And I can't even believe that's like one of the most iconic statements that he makes when he puts his head through the window through the door after he smashes it on this movie. What is it called? Y'all Google it. Leave it on Leave it in the comment section. Let me see, let me see who. Just participate, man. Leave it in the comment section if you missed the show. Woo. So, lovely assistant. Give me the next image. Just her receipt on BoxRec. So, homegirl started boxing back in 2015. Wow, that didn't seem very long ago. But it's almost 10 years. So she's been around. Okay? Look at this now. After her having, count with me, one from the bottom to the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On her 7th fight, she fights Amanda Serrano, who at the time had 27 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw. Amanda Serrano fights a broad who is 7-0. Okay, with pretty decent record, because I tell you something, especially with Amanda's people, they know the game. Like, they know how to put the math together, so it looks fantastic. Amanda will shine, right? But if you see the opposition that my girl here fought before, come on, Edna Kiss fought before, you could see that she was fighting weaker level opposition with okay records. They were trying to build her. Okay. Her record was decent because they were not padding her. Those numbers that you see on the bottom of the receipt was when you're trying to build a fighter to grow and be confident. I don't know if Miss Kiss here had an amateur background, but maybe she didn't, and they were using her pro opponents to give her the development that she needs to be a good contender. Anywho, on her 7th fight, she fights Amanda Serrano, where she loses by TKO. So Amanda stops her. She has 7 fights. Amanda has 29 fights coming in against her. Y'all tell me how that sounds, right? I'd love for, I said it before in previous episodes, Amanda Serrano, she may be a good fighter out here, and she's made some waves, but the record is built. A lot of it is Paddington, Pad Nation, right? Getting on this pound for pound and all that stuff. Great, good fighter and stuff, but I don't know. I just don't like the built thing, right? I don't like the built thing. Tiara Brown is still out here. Amanda Serrano, you tough, you good. Tiara Brown, like, come on. Then, after losing to Amanda Serrano, Miss Kiss has 1, 2, 3, 4 more fights against pretty decent looking, numbers wise, opposition. Looks like her people were still trying to grow her till she got to Shannon O'Connell. Now, Shannon O'Connell, back in 2016, is in Croneship. Shannon O'Connell has also been around, tough broad out of Australia, Aussie broad. Okay? She stood in there and fought Shannon O'Connell, who was 13-4-1 at the time. 13-4-1 is a real record. Like when you look at a woman's boxing record, it's, 27-1, 27-0. You know what I'm saying? When you look at it, like, you have to know that, okay, that's orchestrated. When you see a record 13-4, okay, she's actually been in there against some good decent opposition. This one can be real, right? Then after losing to Shannon O'Connell, she then goes and fights Heather Hardy, right? Heather Hardy is 18-0. I think by this time it's her third loss, and I'm telling you this because I've had 3 losses. Okay? That third loss do it to you. You really have to think about, like, it really, she felt like a winner with 2. She still felt like a winner with 2, but when she got to that third loss, her people around her and stuff, it's like, you have this good record, now you got to make a decision. Am I going to be an opponent or am I going to be a contender? Right? And some people are not, after this happens, and I haven't seen the fights with her versus Heather, or I haven't seen these fights, but if it's a fight that could have gone either way, if it's a situation where you probably performed, you performed well enough, not probably, but you performed well enough to actually win, it's disheartening. It pulls the morale of a fighter down. Okay, so because there's a lot of psychology in being a fighter, in being a pugilist, and these things affect the way we think. Okay. Loss number 3 versus Heather Hardy. Heather Hardy is a name. She goes back. Now, this one went, she fights a pro debut, Beta Botto. I hate when people, like, don't do that. And they like to say, oh, I took the fight because I just needed to be in there. There are people, you need to get back in there, or you need a fight to take you to. You could find somebody that is not a pro debut fighter. You can find somebody who is not a 4-40 fighter. You can find a contender that is going to keep your credibility and keep you legit in there. You don't have to do that, right? And this is what I talk about with these women boxers. And they act like they don't have a choice. You do. You could talk to your management. You could tell, you're the one that has the final word of who you're going to fight, whether you want to fight them or not. She goes and fights Heather Hardy again after fighting the pro debut fighter, and loses again to unanimous decision. Now, I would guess, that would take a strong guess, that her fighting Heather Hardy must have been in New York somewhere, because I don't know of Heather Hardy to fight outside of her hometown. She's like a superstar. Um, I think in Brooklyn. Yeah. Heather Hardy gets in there and she ain't one too. She's one that's not afraid of getting lumped up and getting that roast beef face, right? She'll fight. And she's hard to fight too. She's just, she's small and she don't have much power, but she's sturdy in there. And then look what happens again after she fights Heather Hardy. We're talking about this broad here, Edna Kiss. She fights Amanda Serrano again, and this time Amanda Serrano has 34 fights. Okay. At 34 fights, Serrano fights her, and of course gets the TKO. And lovely assistant. Let's see what Miss Kiss's journey is. Okay. And then again, okay, so she fights Beta Budo again. No, yeah, she fights Beta Budo, not again, but this might be Beta Budo's sister or something like that. Who knows? 1 win, 1 loss. She beat this broad by TKO. So when she gets in there, she could she'll take somebody out if she can. Now they're bringing, now her people are starting to sorry, I thought something came in. Going back to this. Okay, so she fights another pro debut type fighter. Then she goes and she fights Cindy Serrano. Cindy Serrano is Amanda Serrano's older sister, who is pretty good. I thought she could fight when she was fighting back in the day. She's good, tough. She could box. She was good. She wasn't a one-trick pony type fighter. Very cerebral in there. Cindy Serrano, 26 wins, 5 losses, 3 draws. One Cindy Serrano, one of those 5 losses against Anne-Sophie Mathis. And for anybody to even step to Anne-Sophie Mathis gets the boom, the real stamp, right? Because Anne-Sophie Mathis was no motherfucking joke, okay? Anne-Sophie Mathis is one of the hardest hitters in women's boxing. Okay, tall French broad, slim, rangy, and just tough. And man, she who was her? I went to the world championships with, what is her name? Miriam Lamar. Miriam Lamar was in the 139 weight division. I fought 147 when there was a 147 in the amateurs. Very easy. It was very easy for me to go down and fight 139. I always weighed in at about 140. Just my career, 140 was that sweet spot. I showed up to my coach, that was just sugar, 140. Without dieting or just in good shape. So at 139, Miriam Lamar, and at the world stage level, at world championship level, people wanted me and Miriam to fight in the amateurs, right? And Miriam walked around like Miriam, as Mike would say, I mean, it doesn't make a difference, but Miriam Lamar, she played for the other team, so she walked around. She was one of them macho bitches, right? I'm like, I have a really good friend named Sticks. Sticks is fought 165 in the amateurs, fought light heavy in the pros, I believe, and she wanted to be one of the contenders to fight Layla Ali, but she She didn't. She was not chosen. Okay. But Sticks now, Sticks, Cynthia L. She was a macho bitch. Like she had her hair cut low, but boy, she was smooth with it. Big, big broad. She didn't have to prove to you that she was macho. It's like she just that's the type of swag she had, right? Miriam Lamar, she was just one of those, that just look at me, I'm tough. Look at me, I'm tough. I'm tough, and I'm masculine too. Look at me, I'm hard. And it's like, bitch, please. Like, me and you standing face to face, we got four titties. Right? You can't get, how you going to be macho with four titties? You know what I'm saying? Calm down. You know what I'm saying? Like, me and you together, you're not impressing me. That's where I was coming from with the four titty thing. Like, me and you, now, if me and you face to face, and I'm the only one with the titties, but you got to, your jigglies are more south, then, then we may, I got to see how macho you really are. You know what I'm saying? Well, let's see what this is really about. But if you standing in front of me and you got two titties, perky titties like mine, girl, ain't nobody like, it's a coin toss as to who's more macho. That's where that's how I'm Ruby Scott's daughter. Don't bring that shit to me. um anyway, bringing it back to this. So yeah, Mary, and Sophie Mathis fought Miriam Lamar, and boy, Miriam was tough. Miriam was one of them bodybuilder type looking broads. She looked like she was just in it like that. And boy, I tell you, the whooping Aunt Sophie Mathis put on her ass. I know she went home and twirled, and she put on that pink tutu and just twirled and twirled and twirled. She was probably like, ain't no place like home. There's no place like, I'm gonna have to just sit my ass at home for a little bit because, yeah, Aunt Sophie Mathis did it to her. Watch the fight. I think it's out here in cyberspace on YouTube. Aunt Sophie Mathis versus Miriam Lamar. And it was a huge fight. It was back in the day when those women's fights were stingy. You could like it was like you had to have like a plug with the CIA or something like that to get a woman's to have a look at a woman's fight like that at that caliber, right? So yeah, should be out now though. Great fight in women's boxing history. Anyway, back to Miss Kiss. Miss Kiss then fights Shelly Vincent. And look at Shelly Vincent's record: 21 wins, 1 loss. Okay, Shelly was that broad at the time. Maybe I think she's attempted to come back a couple times, doing some good things, giving back to women's amateur boxing. I think she just had a tournament or something like that, which is good. It's always good when we give back that way. But yeah, she lost to Shelly Vincent majority decision. So that means Shelly she gave Shelly a hard time. She may possibly beat Shelly because I know she didn't fight Shelly in Budapest in Hungary, right, in her hometown, which would have gotten that majority decision. She fought Shelly in most likely over here on Shelly's homeland. So if she got a majority decision, she could have actually won that fight. You know what I'm saying? That's how you read these receipts. Michael Orr says Shelly just had a tournament. Yeah, I knew she was doing something out there. That's great. I think we need more tournaments, women's tournaments, for that type of development. Um, then after she fights Shelly Vincent, she fights Michaela Meyer. She fights Michaela Meyer at six. Michaela Meyer was 6 wins, 0 losses, 0 draws. Okay, so this was a tailor-made. Kiss became a tailor-made opponent for somebody like Michaela Meyer because she had the numbers, she had the names on her record, but she didn't have much of a good standing in her record. Right now, she's at this point, her record is probably even, like, at this point I forgot, I'm not counting the numbers, but she's had either just as much losses as she has wins or more losses than she has wins, right? So of course, cherry picked for Michaela Meyer, which is okay. Michaela's 6-0, so she's sub 10. It works. After she loses by TKO, so Michaela stops her, she fights a pro debut, right? So now she's just trying to keep a win on her record. She's trying to go for the sure shot. Her and her people. After she fights this pro debut, she fights a good fighter, Ronica Jeffrey. I haven't seen her in a very long time, but Ronica Jeffrey, good boxer, good power pop, very smart and cerebral in there. Uh, I wish she would come back, or I wish she had. Ronica Jeffrey was also she had a couple titles, so I just wish a contender like this kind of stuck around longer. She did have that staying power, Ronica Jeffrey, because she could fight in there. But I think she got tired of the game. Probably not in the ring, but outside of the ring, right? That's the thing that wears us down in women's boxing, the outside of the ring, the politics, the sliminess. It's just, if you're not strong in your conviction, and if you have a low tolerance for the bullshit, you ain't gonna stick around. Which tells you a lot about Suge, right? Yeah, I think because I started before Ronica Jeffrey. So Ronica Jeffrey, she was in the game when the game was more established. I'm coming from an era where my mentality was still, I knew the bullshit. I knew how shitty it was when I was around, when I first started and when I was around. So the bullshit was just a culture for me, Um, and so I developed a callus for it, which I probably shouldn't have. Hindsight 2020. I'm an old lady now, and I've learned my lesson. I know better. Um, After fighting Ronica Jeffrey, she fights Shelly Vincent again at 23 wins, 2 losses, 0 draws. Okay, so Shelly now, she had another blemish, so I think they called Kiss in to to get her that win back after Shelly lost the second time. She fought Helen Joseph. Helen Joseph, tough fighter that just comes forward and wants to bang, just wants to come forward and hit hard, right? Um, Pretty basic fighter. It, it, if you don't know, if you don't have no footwork and you're willing to stand in front of Helen Joseph, she'll beat you down. She'll beat down that wall. But if you got tactics, and if you're a good boxer, Helen Joseph is actually an easy fight. Anyway, unanimous decision loss. Then she fights Maureen Shea at 27 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw. Maureen Shea um, has been around for a while. And Maureen Shea, she was complaining the other day about, real contenders not getting an opportunity at the shop, because I think she was trying to get another title, and the sanctioning bodies, she she didn't have them in their pocket like in her pocket like she used to. Cause Maureen Shea, this ain't no shade girl. Everybody know this. When Maureen Shea first came out, she was soft. She avoided a lot of great contenders. Like they really moved her. Now she could fight. I seen her. She's worked hard. She's a good contender. But she played the game. She was one of the game players, right? And she turned around and complained about the very same thing that she used to do when she was coming up. That we looked at her and was like, cringe, Anyway, that's Maureen Shea, but good fighter. Now she knows how to operate in there. She's a true professional. After this now, Miss Edina Kiss becomes a career opponent. She's in there to lose. She's in there, she's losing. But just recently, she faces off Nicole Wesner, who is 18 wins, 0 losses, 0 draws. And she fudges around and beats the bitch. Yeah. Which is why I had to go through, I went through Kiss's receipt. The reason why I went through Kiss's receipt, Michael Orr comes in, this is her first win since 2018. Right. The reason why I checked off or went through Kiss's receipt is because this goes to show you that don't let the smooth taste fool you in women's boxing. You can get clipped. Everybody's got a fighting chance. There's no one who is untouchable in women's boxing. So now Nicole Wesner, who they done spent all their money to keep that O, right? She's out of Germany, right? So I guess Germany, they trying to get back in the game. The Germany, y'all got too much karma on y'all. See what happens? See? Y'all see? So she's out of Nicole Wesner is out of, she is German, but she fights out of Austria. Okay? This one, check the math on this. Nicole Wesner is 45 years old. She older than it. Like, she's up there. Like, not she an old lady, but she a dragon. So, I mean, I'm not going to down this broad, right? She's known to be a lightweight, so her dipping to this fight, super bantamweight, she was trying a thing, I guess. But it also goes to proves what Sugar's always said before. You're a different fighter in different weights. That's why this pound for pound thing is realer in women's boxing to me than in men's boxing, right? In men's boxing, these guys, they have a wider threshold of containing who they are as fighters. But when you're in women's boxing, your body is different in different ways. When I get up past 140 pounds, my ass and my legs, they're heavy. So you ain't gonna see Sugar bouncing around too much, right? I'm going to stand there and I'm going to bang a little bit because I got a little bit of more cushion for the push, and I can um I can leverage more into my shots, right? I wish I was able to go, move up and have that type of um you know range. But my fight, no, it was tough for me to even just get fights, right? And I did fight heavier, but I always maintained my weight because it at the time I had to try to I had I took the bigger fights and stayed, like I took middleweight fight, a couple middleweight opportunities, and stayed around junior welter, weighed in with all my clothes on and my boots on because um I just wanted to be able to have fights, and nobody that was my weight, around my weight, or within my weight range would fight me, right? So I had to make those sacrifices. um I went up because I didn't have a problem. I was used to that. My coach, even from the amateur, I was used to fighting bigger broads. So okay, when I started to dabble in going lower, losing weight, sacrificing my, making that sacrifice of not eating, things like that, sweating out, dehydrating myself. I did not realize that rather than when you gain weight, you you give yourself, when you take away from yourself, you take away more than you think you're taking away. You're taking away your strength. You're taking away your durability. You're taking away your ability to heal. You're taking away your ability to really stand there and withstand being in a fight, which I learned the hard way. Right? I tell people that story because I lived it. Uh, so you're a different. I said that to say this about Nicole Wesner, 45 years old, known to be a lightweight, went down to super bantamweight to fight a career loser. Well, you realize that, you can't you can't underestimate anybody. She learned the hard way, right? Can't underestimate everybody. You can't take away from yourself at 45 years old and think that you're going to be able to hang and bang with a fighter who's been around and who has that is who that's her weight division, and who's younger than you. It does make a difference at that point. Younger broads can apply more pressure. When you're an older broad, you have to navigate the fight a certain way. There are times that you do fight, and there are times that you are more tactical within the round. 2-minute round is not conducive for an older fighter, right? For a dragon or an older crone, an older woman fighter. Why? Because there's a way you have to navigate the fight. 2-minute rounds are for rock'em sock'em, go, 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 go fighters, which are a younger type of fighter because all they're doing is they're on go. Their persistence and their endurance are the things that are taking them through the round. No one's looking at no one's looking at strategy and tactics. In 2 minutes, you're just looking at output. I think that kills women's boxing. Soft, killing us softly, right? It's killing us softly because as much as we're on these high big platforms, and as much as things are good for us, where we're getting attention and we can have some notoriety, the evolution of what we are, the evolution of now watching women develop into proper pugilistic performers, is that's stifled, because you just cannot execute a legitimate strategy, and you cannot imply tactical um, tactical skills, and you cannot impart that into something into 2 minutes, 30 seconds. You bop around 30 seconds, right? You do a couple flurries for 2 15-second increments, and then you bop around for another 30 seconds. That's 2 minutes. That last minute, the first 2 minutes, okay, you're feeling each other out and around. That last minute is now when I attack, is when I take this round, is when what I inflicted in the beginning of the round starts to manifest whatever I needed to manifest in the last minute of the round. But I digress. I brought this part up, or she ate up, Adina Kiss ate up this part of so much of the show, because there was just, I just found this fight to be a little realer than other fights that are happening, have happened in a while, because it takes us back to the reality of women's boxing, where anyone can get clipped. Right? You got to be careful out here. You can't underestimate a loser, because she may not be a loser. She just may be in a different space. Anyway, lovely assistant. What else? What other? Who we talking about? Who else we talking about tonight? Okay, so we got these two. We got these two, y'all. On the far left, we got Barbie Juarez. I did something on her a long, long time ago. I don't think I have much views on it, because it was quick. Barbie Juarez has been around for a while. We actually distant friends. Smaller gal. She up here in age. She a crone. She croning. Had babies. Had a baby. We just grew up and became women in this industry. Bantamweight, super bantamweight. That's a real one. Okay? So, excuse me, I'm gonna check back my notes. She just fought, come on, Mayela Flores, who you see closer to me. So Barbie's to the far left, Juarez is here on the right. Barbie Juarez is to the far left, okay? And Mayela Flores, more so to the. Now I watched this fight. Good fight. Mayela Flores versus Mariana Juarez, or Barbie Juarez. Barbie, she can box, she can fight, and she can bang. Good fighter, good fight. Mexican broad, okay? Mexican baddie. Mayela Flores is a short, stocky, banger. She's about, I think, under 5 feet, like 4 feet 11 or something like that. Okay, so these are tiny. Like she's a tiny, stocky pit bull type broad. Good fight, y'all. Go watch it. Okay. Um, Flores was just like I seen. She just they weren't. There was no running. There was really give and take. There was it was a banging, like no one ran in this fight. It was two women really behaving badly. They both gave and took, and there was lumps and bumps, but it was a great performance from both of them. So Barbie is 43 years old. Okay, Barbie Juarez is 43 years old. Cronin almost dragon ship, right? Because when you get to 45, you a dragon. Okay. And she's still doing well. And look at her. Okay. 43, where? Okay, she got the corn rolls. She's looking good. Titties, the low, ain't nothing. She got that. She's selling it. She got the solar plexus tattoo. That bitch, she bad still. I love it. I love it. Okay. Um, and then she got the neck. Listen, Barbie ain't start off like that. She became bad. Okay. She just got badder and bad. I'm talking about Barbie because you're seeing a fighter who has evolved to this place and still fighting great opposition. She just lost, and she gave a valiant effort. And this contender now, both of them are still good contenders in the bantamweight division. I would love to see any of these two, Mayela Flores right here in the pink tank top, and the baddie over there, Barbie, in that real gangster get. I love it. That cutout swimsuit. They're great contenders. Would love to see them. They could bring a money match. Look at what it says. Juarez Flores weigh-in photo. I give it home person, Chris, because that's spelled Chris. It could be male or female. Their photo credit. Okay, this is a Golden Boy promotion. So Golden Boy put this nice match together. You see B Hop back there. Okay, I don't know who the other face is. It's certainly that ain't Oscar. The Oscar done blew up. Oscar, he looking like one of them when you leave the hot dog in the water for too long, and it's just that's old school. That's when I was young though. That was when I was young. Sugar don't eat that junk no more. Um, but yeah, this is the Golden Boy Promotions. They put on this great match. I think it was where did they fight? The Toyota. Let's see, because I made a note of goodness. I made a note of where they fought, because the one thing that women's boxing is doing is we getting freaky in some nice places now. Right? It ain't the barn. It ain't the bar. It's legitimate arenas. And it ain't just a one broad. We got getting type of treatment. Um, and that's a big deal. Because it's showing that, okay, we have now, like, they're taking us seriously now, at least. Um, let's see. Just going through my note. And by the way, you guys, you can see this. Barbie Mariana Juarez fight versus Mayela Flores. Juarez versus Flores. You can see this fight's on YouTube, so you can look it up. Man, y'all. Okay, it misses me. I made I think it's the Toyota something arena. Y'all look it up. My host, I love you. My host came in and gave me the answer that my notes got jumbled up. They fought at the Toyota Arena in Ontario, California. Yeah. So women boxing is doing good over there. Over there. So lovely assistant, do I have any other image? Now, this is not fair. I'm gonna call them people. Where box right number at? Because she can't be looking this gorgeous. This is Barbie. This is what I'm talking about. Look at her record though. Check the record. 55 wins, 13 losses, 4 draws. That number is real too, because she done fought some people. She played the game too, and she did some tomato cans, but I forgive her. She real. Look at her. The lipstick, the eyeshadow, the baby hair. Girl, you got to plug in Box Rec. It's not fair. You know how long I've been petitioning to Box Rec for them to change my picture? Y'all look up Sugar in there. I look, out of all the pictures they could have used, and I sent them pictures. They chose to keep the one that's, and you got Barbie looking like this. It ain't fair. But you could see on her division, she rallies at super bantamweight. She's 2.5-star fighter. Okay. So she real out here in the field. I mean, the bantamweight division, lovely assistant, just make me big on here, because I'm going to wrap it up. The bantamweight division is a nice little battlefield, you guys, and it can make some money. Promoters out here, and I think the promoter who probably has the better chance of making money out of this division is Golden Boy. Because Golden Boy has these 2 fighters now, Juarez and Flores. And it wouldn't be a bad idea for them to send these broads to Shanisha Estrada, badass, super badass, and make some super fights or make a big fight. I'm here for it, right? And we got Ebony out here, we got Jamie out here, we got these are just names that just come to mind. Ain't none of them my favorites, okay? We got people who are upset, and if you upset somebody who's supposed to be real out here, you get back in the game. Even though realistically, your name's back in the game, but ain't nobody gonna touch you with a 10-foot pole. Why? Because it doesn't never look good if you get beat by somebody who is actually a career loser. Anyway, you guys, like, subscribe, share. Thank you, Mike, for showing up tonight. Thank you for adding to the conversation. You guys, thanks for chiming in. Those who, thanks for watching. If you decide just to stay quiet and not to chime in, I love you for showing up for Sugar on Wednesday nights. And trust me, y'all, this is my time. Wednesday nights at around 7:30, special with y'all, okay? It's a special time. Eddie Barrett, Eddie, you was here. Thank you. Thanks for the roses. 6 of them too. I'll take it. Thank you, Eddie, for dropping in and showing me that you in the building and you support Sugar. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I was just talking about visiting visiting the upside, the great north. I thought I was going to be there a little sooner than later, but listen, listen, they might put me out of there by the time I come back and visit, right? Because I'm gonna be a naughty girl. And I got my guys are up there, and they love when I act up. They listen. They like when I behave badly, and I know they're gonna spoil me when we get together. I can't wait. Anyway, next Wednesday it'll be the same time. We gonna be my face gonna be in the same place. Let's have a conversation about this women's boxing thing. Now I don't know what I might talk about just yet. Okay, you can always give me some suggestions down here in the comments. But like, subscribe, and share this sugar. Share this sugar. Check out my guys on Talkin Fight Women Boxing Fridays. We got my guys uh on Talkin Fight talking about the up and coming fights. We got SETI on Sundays, I think. We got Mike, like, come on, but we got Brooke on Tuesdays, like, just the channel, right? Where we talk fight. And I like to say this. I want to end it by saying this, right? You can learn a little bit from all of us, right? And what this channel is all about is getting everybody involved in the conversation, getting the young folk to know about what the old folk know, and to bring what they know to the table, and vice versa. It's a teaching platform about this thing. So there's no judgment. That we just want to have this conversation, especially here on the Sugar Show. So, like I said, like, subscribe, and share. Y'all be good to each other and yourselves. And until next Wednesday, y'all be good, okay? See you then.